Mr. President.
Senator from Oregon is recognized.
Mr. President, we've just heard a discussion of the issue of tax reform. And my colleague across the aisle has said there should be no corporate minimum tax on corporations. And yet Americans know that billionaire companies, one after the other, some of the most profitable companies in our entire country, companies like Amazon, don't pay a single cent in tax. Oh, they use our legal system, they use our road system, they use our education system, they use it all in vast quantities and don't contribute a single dime. One single ordinary worker does more to pay for all of the infrastructure these massive companies utilize than the company does. It's about time corporations that make massive profits pay something, and 15% isn't even their fair share. And it's part of a global agreement to hold corporations accountable so they don't skip from one country to another, to another, to another, evading everyone everywhere. My colleague also said a lot about why we should not put a 1% tax on stock buybacks. Now let's understand what stock buybacks are. First of all, a president of a company works to get a board, and that board is compensated, and then that board makes lots of decisions about, well, the welfare of the top executives. They set the salaries for the top executives, and then they give them stock options. Now, if you have a stock option, and then your company buys back stock, every share gets more valuable, you make a massive amount of money. This is a corrupt system. It does nothing to further the investment of the company and the productivity of America. It does nothing to increase the R&D, research and development, that goes into new products. It does nothing to make their product more price competitive. It is enrich the rich scheme, and putting a 1% fee on that to help pay for all the infrastructure the companies use is certainly more than appropriate. In fact, we should simply ban the stock buybacks. This is a very, very modest reform in the right direction. It is the case that in this chamber, under the Republican stock provisions, one year after another, under their tax provisions, they have basically enabled the billionaires and corporations to escape any contribution to the welfare of our country. That is wrong. These tax reforms are right, and the health care provisions will help. They're not nearly as powerful as I'd like to see, certainly. I want to negotiate every single drug the way the Veterans Administration does, the way every foreign country does, every developed country does. We should get the best prices, not the worst in the developed world. And in climate, while this again doesn't do everything I want, the investments in solar and wind will drive a bold, determined transition from fossil fuel energy to renewable energy. We have to electrify everything with renewable energy. If we do that, set that example for the world, and work with the world, we have some chance of humanity tackling this massive problem of climate chaos that is causing so much trouble across our land, from the massive floods in Kentucky to the forest fires of the Pacific Northwest, town after town being burned down. It is really America that has to lead the way. There is a lot more I'd like to see in this bill, just as my colleague from Ohio has a whole series of ideas. I filed a lot of amendments, but I can't pull them up tonight. I can't ask for a vote on them because under the structure that we're dealing with now, anything that changes may result in this bill never passing. And so this is why when we come back in the next session of Congress, we have to reform this Senate so we can do legitimate amendments like my colleague from Ohio suggested, in a process where they get due consideration and don't torpedo the bill under which we're discussing them. Those reforms are so essential because the arc of this chamber has been one in which individual amendments have been incredibly suppressed. It's unacceptable. We're all so frustrated with the fact that deals are made by basically 4 individuals leading the 2 chambers off this floor rather than determined and responsible debate, public, transparent debate on the floor of this chamber. So the right answer is to come back and make this place work so that all ideas, as my colleague from Ohio listed his, I have my list. I want to add in back an affordable housing. I want to stop all the drilling. I want to fund the community colleges. I want preschool to be counted. I want to fix so that we can take the electric vehicle tax credits and do even better with them. I want to include the 2-wheel and the 3-wheel vehicles. I want to put in the summer benefit for food that has been so effective in helping so many children make it through the summer. But I can't do these things. Let's fix this, Senate. Let's have the type of debates we should have. And tonight, let's pass this bill for the right steps in the right direction on tax reform, on health care, and on climate. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam President.